Hi, good you're watching this video. In this video I show you traffic signs from the category F, other commandments and prohibitions. And before I go to the traffic signs and some test questions, first a little advertising about our video course. If you have to do the theory test at the CBR in the Netherlands and you want to pass in one go, then you go to theoriecourse.com and there you can order the best video theory course that is available in the Netherlands. And now I go to the first sign. The first sign is sign F1. It's a prohibition for motor vehicles to overtake each other. That means with your car you cannot overtake a tractor, a bromobile, a motorcycle, another car. But you can overtake non-motor vehicles, so you can overtake bicycles, mopeds, low mopeds, vehicles for the disabled, speed pedelecs, those you can and may overtake. But other motor vehicles you are not allowed to overtake. A CBR question is, you want to overtake the moped, is that allowed? Yes or no? And yes, it's allowed, because you may not overtake other motor vehicles, and a moped is not a motor vehicle, so you may overtake the moped. And another question, you want to overtake the motorcycle, is that allowed? Yes or no? And that's not allowed. The motorcycle has only two wheels, but this sign has nothing to do with 2, 3, 4 or 14 wheels. Yeah, it says you may not overtake another motor vehicle. And a motorcycle is a motor vehicle, so you may and cannot overtake the motorcycle. And another question, you want to overtake the bromobile. The CBR doesn't translate the word bromobile, it's a microcar. Yeah? So, you want to overtake the bromobile, is that allowed? Yes or no? And this is also not allowed, because a bromobile follows the rules of a motor vehicle, and you are not allowed to overtake other motor vehicles, so you cannot overtake the bromobile. And you want to overtake the bromobile in this situation, is that allowed? Yes or no? And no, it isn't. You may overtake tractors, but this isn't a tractor, this is a bromobile. The speed limit of a tractor is 40 kilometers per hour, and the speed limit of a bromobile, if he drives inside or outside the built-up area, is 45 kilometers per hour. But you cannot overtake the bromobile in this situation. And two more questions regarding this beautiful traffic sign. This is the first of the two. You want to overtake the tractor, is that allowed? Yes or no? Right answer is no, because a tractor is a motor vehicle and you are not allowed to overtake any motor vehicle, so you're not allowed. And then the last question of this traffic sign, you want to overtake the tractor, is that allowed? Yes or no? And in this situation, the answer is yes. And there are always people, they say, but you cannot overtake just before a junction. Then my question is, why not? Because this is a priority road, and on a priority road you can overtake, because drivers from this road must give way to drivers from the left and the right. Only if you have no sight to that road, because there are a lot of trees and you cannot see what's happening over there, you cannot overtake. CBR asks you many times, you want to overtake the bicycle, you want to overtake the moped, is that allowed? And then you are just before a curve, you cannot see what's from the opposite side. And in that situation, you cannot overtake. But if you have sight into the street, you can overtake. Also before a junction. Okay, traffic sign F2. This is the end of prohibition for motor vehicles to overtake each other. And I think everybody should know what this sign means. After this sign, you can overtake other motor vehicles, but not before this sign. So not you see this sign, can you overtake another motor vehicle? No, you must pass this sign first. You want to overtake the tractor, is that allowed? Yes or no? And the right answer is yes, because you passed this sign. And if you pass the sign, you may overtake the tractor. If this sign was over here, a little bit further, then you are not allowed to overtake the tractor. Then you must wait till you pass the sign first. Sign F3, prohibition for lorries to overtake motor vehicles. So in this situation with your car, you can overtake any other motor vehicle. Only a lorry cannot overtake other motor vehicles. And a lot of times there on the motorway, there is a bottom plate that says from Monday till Friday, from 6 till 7 in the evening, lorries may not overtake because they drive a little bit slower, and that can, there can be a traffic jam because of the lorries. So always look at the bottom plate. So it's Sunday, may the lorry overtake? Yes, on Sunday the lorry may overtake. Saturday also. Weekdays, 9 in the evening also. But Monday till Friday from 6 in the morning till 7 in the evening, 6 a.m., 7 p.m., lorries may not overtake in this situation. And at sign F4, it's the end of prohibition for lorries to overtake other motor vehicles. So in this situation, a lorry can overtake another lorry, another car, another bus, or whatever. Traffic sign F5, prohibition for drivers to proceed when approaching traffic from the opposite direction. That means there must be a narrow of the road always, and you must stop and let everybody from the opposite direction go first. Pedestrians, bicycles, mopeds, cars, whatever. So you want to drive straight ahead. Do you have to let the oncoming car go? Yes or no? And this is a normal CBR question. They covered the traffic signs with snow. Oh, this CBR is so funny. The last 10 years, I didn't see any snow covering any traffic signs, but at the CBR, the snow still exists. Well, you see, this sign is round and you see a little bit red, and there is only one traffic sign at the road narrowing, what's round and a little bit red at the edge, and that is this traffic sign. And this traffic sign means you must stop and let everybody from the opposite side go first. Traffic sign F6. Drivers from the opposite direction must give way to traffic approaching from this direction. Read carefully. It says drivers from the opposite direction. And is a pedestrian a driver? Don't think so, huh? So a pedestrian don't have to stop for this sign. Only drivers, bicycles, mopeds, motorcycles, cars must let go. Well, you want to drive straight ahead. Do you have to let the oncoming car go? And it's still January or February at the CBR, still snowing, and the sign is covered with snow, but we see the blue sign over here, and the blue sign says you can continue. So this is the sign. Yeah, at this sign you can drive on, but if there are 20, 40 or 60 pedestrians walking here, then you must stop, because this sign is only for the drivers from the opposite direction. In what situation should you give way to drivers approaching from the other side of the road narrowing? Is it the first image? Is it the second image? Or maybe both images? It's only the first situation. This sign says you must let everybody from the other side go first. And this one says if there is a driver from the other side, you may continue. So only in the first situation. Now it's a little bit more tricky. In what situation should you give way to pedestrians approaching from the other side of the road narrowing? Is it the first situation, the second situation, or maybe both situations? And now it's both situations. Because at this first sign, this sign, you may continue if there are drivers from the other side, but those are not drivers, those are pedestrians. So pedestrians at the road narrowing, they always go first. Traffic sign F7. This means you cannot make a U-turn. So at this sign you cannot go left and left again. But at this sign you can go straight, you can go right, and you can turn left. But it's not allowed to make a U-turn. Sign F8, it has the meaning end of all prohibitions indicated by road signs. So you have a road sign, it says 30 kilometers per hour is your speed limit and you may not park and whatever more, all prohibitions are over after this sign. So instead of end of the speed limit, end of no parking, they put this sign, and this sign means end of all prohibitions. We also have F9. It has the same meaning, end of all prohibitions, but in this situation only indicated on an electronic signaling panel above the motorway or whatever way. So F8, F9, almost the same. Only F8 goes about traffic signs on metal signs, and this one is on electronic signaling panels. F10 means stop, and on the sign can be indicated by whom or why the sign is applied. Many years ago, when I was a little boy, we had borders with Belgium, borders with Germany, and there we had the sign stop douane. But we don't have borders anymore. If you are in the Netherlands, you are free to drive to Belgium, to Germany, France, Spain, whatever. So those signs with stop douane doesn't exist anymore. You don't see those signs many times in the Netherlands, but you can still see them in harbors, with stop douane, because then lorries with goods must stop and get the stuff controlled. Or you can have a sign with stop security in the neighborhood of airports or whatever. So F10 means you have to stop, and on the sign they say why or by whom you have to stop. F11 is a mandatory use of the passing lane intended exclusively for agricultural and forestry tractors, motor vehicles with limited speed, and mobile machines. So if you drive a tractor, or motor vehicle with limited speed or mobile machine, you have to use this lane so that other can pass you. It's a new sign, doesn't exist many years, and now you know what it means. The tractor have to drive here, or the cars can pass the tractor. And F12 is the end of the mandatory use of the passing lane. Not so difficult sign. F13 is a carriageway or lane exclusively for scheduled buses. So not every bus may use this lane. And you with your car can never use this lane. It's only for scheduled buses, and many times on the road they have painted lijnbus. And lijnbus is the Dutch word for scheduled buses. And F14, it means end of carriageway or lane exclusively for scheduled buses. Here on the road you see the word lane. And here under there was the word bus, but it's not on the image anymore. And after this sign, the bus doesn't have his own lane anymore. So that is what the meaning is of this sign. F15, you can guess what this sign is. Very well, it's for the carriageway or lane exclusively for trams. So a bus cannot drive here, only for a tram. And F16 is the end of the carriageway or lane exclusively for trams. And we're almost there. We have F17. It's a carriageway or lane exclusively for scheduled buses and trams. So, and trams and scheduled buses. But no, normal buses may drive here. And in this situation, at F18, it's the end of the carriageway or lane for the scheduled buses and trams. And F19 is the carriageway or lane exclusively for scheduled buses and also for lorries. But still, a normal bus cannot drive here. And the end of the special lane for the lorries and the scheduled buses. And F21, carriageway or lane exclusively for lorries. So no buses, only for lorries. F22 is the end of the carriageway or lane exclusively for lorries. And those were the traffic signs from this video. And if you want to have a result like this, hazard perception 3 faults, knowledge 0 faults, insight 0 faults, then you go to theoriecourse.com, order our video theory course, and you will pass like this man. Yeah, I became a little wiser. Thank you so much for the great course. 100% recommended. And then you get this result. Okay, see you by the next video. Thank you. Ciao. Gracias. Adios.